Have you ever seen someone's grief so raw, so real, that it stops you in your tracks? That's exactly what happened when Hye Kyo appeared at the funeral of the legendary veteran actor Soon-jae, affectionately known as Hye. From the moment she stepped out of her car, all eyes were on her, but not in the way you might think. It wasn't glamour or fame that drew attention. It was her emotions, her vulnerability, the quiet dignity with which she carried her sorrow. Fans and onlookers couldn't help but notice how deeply affected she was. Hye Kyo, usually seen on screen with impeccable poise and grace, appeared profoundly human that day. Her face, normally serene and composed, betrayed her grief. Tears welled up in her eyes almost immediately, and there was a moment when she struggled to hold them back, pressing her hand to her mouth, as if trying to contain the storm of emotions inside her. You could see the raw pain of loss reflected in every movement, every sigh, every glance. It was striking because this wasn't about cameras or publicity. This was a private, intimate moment, yet her sorrow spoke loudly to everyone watching. The way she bowed deeply before the casket, her head lowered, shoulders trembling slightly, was a testament to the respect she had for Soon-jae, not just as a colleague, but as a mentor, a role model, and someone who shaped the very world of acting she loved so much. There was a lesson in that bow, one that fans could feel without needing words. Honor those who came before you. Cherish their legacy, and never underestimate the impact of kindness and dedication. As she walked into the funeral hall, her eyes scanning the room, it was clear she was overwhelmed by the collective grief. Fellow actors, colleagues, and fans were present, all united by the loss of a man whose career and humanity had touched so many lives. But Hye Kyo's presence seemed to amplify the emotion in the room. She moved slowly, deliberately, her steps measured as if she wanted to feel every part of the moment. And then came the tears that no one could hide. At one point, she gently wiped a tear from her cheek, her hands shaking ever so slightly. It was a subtle gesture, yet it spoke volumes. Fans watching from afar, either online or in person, were quick to note how much this scene reflected a side of her rarely seen, a vulnerability that made her feel profoundly relatable. Here was a superstar, someone idolized by millions, breaking down in grief just like anyone else would. And in that breaking, there was beauty, there was truth. What struck people most, perhaps, was how sincere her emotions were. In an industry where appearances often mask real feelings, Hye Kyo's grief seemed unfiltered. She wasn't hiding behind sunglasses, oversized coats, or a stoic facade. She let the world see her sorrow. Her tears were honest, her trembling voice whispered prayers, and when she spoke softly to Soon-jae's family, her words carried the weight of genuine empathy. You could see the comfort she tried to give, even as her own heart was breaking. Many noted her interactions with the family. She approached them slowly, bowing deeply once more, her hands clasped tightly in front of her. "I am so sorry for your loss," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the murmurs of the room. It wasn't a line written for cameras, it was a heartfelt expression of grief and solidarity. The family, visibly moved, welcomed her condolences with quiet nods, touched not just by her words, but by the sincerity behind them. Her behavior didn't stop at gestures. Hye Kyo remained near the casket for a long time, almost reluctant to leave. She closed her eyes for a moment, as if saying a silent goodbye, letting memories of Soon-jae fill her mind. There was a weight to that farewell, a recognition of the profound influence he had on her career and life. Fans watching couldn't help but reflect on their own experiences with mentors, loved ones, and the fleeting nature of life. In that moment, Hye Kyo's grief became universal, a mirror for anyone who has ever lost someone irreplaceable. It was also impossible not to notice the ripple effect her emotions had. Fellow actors, some of whom were holding back tears themselves, seemed encouraged to embrace their grief openly. Even distant fans watching clips online couldn't help but comment, "She's crying just like us," or even someone like Hye Kyo feels this loss deeply. That connection between a celebrity and fans, often abstract and distant, became intensely real. Grief, respect, and admiration had bridged the gap between the star and the ordinary person. Throughout the service, cameras captured subtle but telling details. The way she adjusted her posture, attempting to steady herself, the way she occasionally pressed her palms together, murmuring silent prayers, the way she gently exhaled, as if releasing some of the heavy sorrow that weighed down her chest. Each gesture told a story, each tear held a meaning, and every fan watching felt they were witnessing more than a funeral. They were witnessing a moment of pure humanity. And yet, despite the visible sadness, there was something inspiring in her demeanor. In her vulnerability, she showed courage. In her tears, she displayed respect. And in the quiet way she moved through the funeral, she reminded everyone that grieving is not a sign of weakness. It is a testament to love, loyalty, and the depth of human connection. Fans took away more than just images of her crying. They took away a message about honoring those who came before us, about showing emotion openly, and about the power of presence in moments that truly matter. As the service concluded, Song Hye Kyo lingered briefly near the casket, her eyes tracing the contours of the room, absorbing the gravity of the moment one last time. When she finally stepped outside, she appeared composed once more, but those who saw her up close knew the storm of grief that had passed through her. And in that duality, the balance of raw emotion and composed respect, she left an indelible impression on everyone present. Her appearance that day is being remembered not for the fashion she wore or the fame she carried, but for the humanity she displayed. Fans flooded social media with messages of admiration, noting how moving it was to see a celebrity who could be so publicly emotional while remaining dignified. "She's crying for him, but she's teaching us how to honor someone," one comment read. Another said, "Even stars feel loss like we do." That's so real. And isn't that what makes this story resonate so deeply? Song Hye Kyo's tears were more than just sorrow. They were a reminder. A reminder that life is fragile, that our elders and mentors shape who we are, and that showing emotion is not weakness, but strength. Watching her grieve for Lee Soon-jae was like witnessing a silent lesson in humanity, that love, respect, and memory transcend fame, cameras, and time. So, as we remember Lee Soon-jae, let us also remember the way Song Hye Kyo honored him, with tears, with respect, and with a heart that spoke volumes without a single shout. Her presence at the funeral will linger in fans' minds not as a celebrity moment, but as a human one, a story of empathy, grief, and the quiet beauty of saying goodbye to someone who mattered deeply. Because in the end, perhaps that's what all of us are searching for, a way to show love, to honor those who impacted our lives, and to let ourselves feel fully, even when it hurts.